excited to have my next guest back on the show. Her debut album, Raven, is out right now. Isabel LaRosa.
Hello. How we doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm so good.
Look at us. We're inside.
I know.
We're not on some random rooftop in 90-degree weather
or in a
and
green
humid.
room. Or in a, random green room. I feel like those were the vibes. It was roof, and then the green room on the Nessa tour, and then green room on God's Watching tour, where it was like, it was so grimy. I was scared to sit on the couches there, honestly. But now we're back.
See, you're making me feel bad. I should get one of those like wipes from the airlines and just make sure.
No, that was on me, because that was the green room I was in. You came to me on that one. I'm like, that's not you. This is a great
The
space.
Nessa green room was very nice, though.
Yeah, the Nessa green room was very nice. My green room, not so much. But no, the Nessa one was very lovely. It was so clean and put together and not grimy at all. But
See,
yeah.
that's contrary to the image that you project.
Yeah.
Dark Isabel, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I'm running away from some random unknown masked man in the neighborhood.
Yeah, seriously.
It's fine to hide in a barn and be dirty and grimy,
know.
but here you are saying that the green room was.
I like things when they're clean, to be honest. Even though I'm a mildly messy person, but I don't know. You can be dark and cool and still want your environment
still
to be
want
clean.
cleanliness.
Yeah, no, seriously. I'm like, I don't know. I need it now. I can't. I'm just not down for it. Down for grimy green rooms.
Hey, this is fine. This is what happens when you hit 20.
Yeah, seriously. I'm like, it's just like, I feel like my frontal lobe is developed. I feel it every day. I'm like, I'm more coherent every day. It's so weird. It's really crazy.
Well, we were saying off camera that you are still getting situated in your place here in Los Angeles, which is where we are now, and which is awesome. Congrats on the new place. But yet it's kind of bare bones.
Bare bones, yeah.
You are at least sleeping on a mattress with a box spring.
Yes. Well, now I know. Now I have a bed frame, which is so crazy. Really wild developments. What's crazy about being like an adult is that, like, if you don't do things, they just don't happen. And so I'm like, if I don't order a bed frame, I won't have a bed frame, and no one's gonna do it for me. So I have to do it. But yeah, it's.
What do you mean nobody's gonna do it for you?
Like
Aren't you at a place where you know people? Like, hey, Bill, come on over.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess you still got to do things by yourself a lot of the times. I don't know. But
Do you still make your own breakfast?
I'm kind of bad about eating breakfast, honestly. But yeah, I mean, I make like the most unhinged food ever. Like, I don't.
What is unhinged food? I've never heard of such thing. Food is food.
I know. Well, I just make like the same thing every day. Like, I usually make salad and like some form of like tuna, and like that's my vibe.
That's
every
healthy.
Day.
That's
yeah,
not
it's
unhinged.
healthy. It keeps me in shape. I'm like, but it's just like, everyone thinks I'm really weird for it. I'm like, it's not that crazy to me, but everyone judges me, so I don't know.
I'm not judging. I'm applauding.
Thank you.
You got your omega-3s. You got your chlorophyll.
I get all of the things in there. I maybe put some hummus in there. Like, I'm set. I'm healthy. Like.
You sure are.
Oh, thank you. I'm there.
Is this on your rider as well when you tour?
I actually do. I took tuna off the rider though, because no one ever eats it. Shockingly, because no one wants to open like a tuna can in a green room. Like,
sure.
So I was like, we don't need this. But yeah, I have all the good things on my rider on tour. Now I can expand a little bit.
I can understand that too, because if you're doing meet and greets and interfacing with people, the tuna smell might not be.
No one wants that, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just but other than that, we're adulting pretty well, I'd say, hopefully.
That's good. I'm glad.
Yes.
Everyone at their own pace, but 20 must be kind of that magical number where it's kind of like you do a double take and you're like,
wait,
20?
What? I'm like, 20? What do you mean 20?
I'm doing a double take, 20?
I know, it's weird. It's really weird. But no, it's been fun. We turned in the album and everything's just trying to do all the things.
Yeah. Did you do a lot of self-reflection when that magical day happened? 20?
Yeah, 20. I feel like there's been a lot of reflecting as of recently, the past few months. I feel like there's been so much happening and like so many, just turning in the album and like having that be what it is so crazy. And like, I feel like when we first started having these interviews, like the idea of an album was so far-fetched to me, and now it's here and it's so, I don't know, it's still hard for me to wrap my brain around. But I'm
when
very
we
excited
first
for it.
spoke, you had all these grand visions.
Yes.
Very cinematic
Yeah.
and theatrical. And even Baby I'm Yours wasn't really as big as it became and so forth, right? And then as you started getting more experience touring and then being exposed to different sounds and whatnot, you know, it's all coming to fruition here. But I'm sure that vision still stayed the same.
Yeah, totally.
So-
oh, yeah, absolutely.
So what were the original visions that kind of stayed and grew in time?
I feel like when I first like started, I mean, I've always wanted to do something very cinematic and like music and visuals that felt very much like a movie. And I'm really excited because we shot some videos recently that are very much like in the cinematic world, and they've been like just in a style that I've wanted to do for like since we started talking. And I feel like my taste and like my gut instinct on things has stayed the same. I think that obviously you grow and develop and like what you want changes and like all that kind of stuff, but I feel like concepts have changed for me, and just like I feel like I've gone through things in life now that like just I'm writing about, and now I'm kind of centering my visuals more around. And so like I feel like I used to be rooted creatively in more of a sense of like fantasy, and I feel like now for me it's more of like my real life and like what really goes on and in my brain. So I feel like that's been a shift for me, definitely.
You're telling me there's some very pointed lyrics on this album and a lot of these songs, and they're still so fresh in my mind.
Yes.
I'm still wrapping my head around lyrics, but also out, you know, song titles and all these things. I want to start with the Leslie Gore sample because that is a very empowering song from a female perspective. Sounds applicable as well to that moment.
Definitely.
So I'm taking you've been a Leslie Gore fan forever.
Oh yeah, I mean I've been obsessed with that song for like as long as I can remember, and I mean, such a crazy, I mean, for the time, such a like insanely very strong thing to say, and I think I just admire that so much. And I've personally been a fan of the song for so long. Thomas and I just talked about it, and we were like, why don't we just do our own version of You Don't Own Me? And I wanted to keep it like as kind of close to the original as I could. But yeah, it's really fun, and it's very like applicable to my life, and I feel like it follows kind of like the theme of the album very closely. So I was very excited to put my own spin on it.
Well, I'm not surprised that you have been a fan of her work, and it's obviously applicable to the music and the themes.
Yeah.
As you're growing as a person and an artist, how do you delineate, okay, this would be a great song, or I can't share that, or I'll share a little bit?
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like for a long time I couldn't share, like I just wasn't in a place where I could talk about it, because I was just in a situation where like I wasn't going to say all the things that were happening to me and that I was going through. And so I feel like honestly throughout some of my like biggest moments so far have been like the worst personal times for me. Like on all these things that like were like throughout Favorite and throughout all these amazing tours, and like I've had like the best time, but like I was going through some really, really horrible shit. And I feel like now it's been so cool for me to be able to like feel all the things that I like wasn't allowed to, and I now I can just say what I want to say and not have like somebody telling me that I can't say that, which is really, really cool. And so I'm just kind of, I'm like, okay, great, I'm letting loose now. I'm like, great, this is, you know, everything's fair game now, so I can say what I want to say.
What were the major points of putting this album together? Because you go through all these things in life, that's one thing, but then to say, okay, this is great for a debut album, it's total another thing. Totally.
I mean, I feel like in terms of like, we've written a lot of the songs, some like Pretty Boy and songs like that, and even You Don't Own Me were like, we wrote in like right after Favorite and like in like a year ago, and then a lot of the songs like Burning and Cry For You, Hope It Hurts are written as of like the past couple months. So it's like cool because I feel like there are so many different perspectives of mine throughout the album, and I think it shows like the progression of like what I was going through and like now where I am. And so I think it's just, there are many different points of view throughout it. But I mean, we're always writing, and so it was hard to narrow it down to what we wanted to like say. But I'm really just like, we picked carefully about like what we wanted and like the order and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But we drew stuff from like, again, many different points. I mean, Burning was funny because we like sat on the hook we had the lyric with a different melody for like however many months, and then Thomas went back and rewrote the melody, and then we recorded it, and then we sat on it for like another month, and I was like, what are we doing? This is so good. Why don't we just tease it? Like, there's no reason not to. And there are still songs right now that like we've been sitting on for however long, and I'm like, we need to tease this. Like, what are we doing? So it's fun to like, I think sometimes it's helpful to sit on things for a little bit, because then you can come back to it and then you're like, oh, this needs to happen with it and whatnot. Because like Favorite, when we started out, was a completely different melody than what it is now, and we sat on it for like a year.
Really?
Yeah. And thank God we changed that melody. Like, but
what was the melody like, and how influenced
remember.
from the Latin type of vibes that we hear today?
It was still Latin, but just the melody was, I don't remember what it was. I'm sure I have a voice memo somewhere of it, but I actually don't remember what it was. But it was still like the same production. It was just like a different melody.
Just a different approach altogether.
Different approach,
yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad that we went back and redid it, because we had it tracked and everything. It was, I don't know, it's so funny how things like that work. It kind of makes you think, I'm like, what could I be sitting on right now that like is that? You know, I'm like, I don't know.
That's kind of like bare bones.
Yeah, exactly. Like what could have that moment that is in my Dropbox right now? I don't know. But it's like a game for me.
Is there a particular song that you're just like so proud of that you not maybe worked so hard on, but maybe, man, we worked on this for 15 minutes and this just is a banger, or this means so much to me? Yeah,
I feel like the writing, I'm really, really proud of the writing on Cry For You. I mean, it came together actually in one session. Thomas and I wrote it with DeLacy, and Monsters and Strangers are on the writing end and also the production end. But it was like, it came together really quickly. And then we sat on the second verse for like so long. We were like, we could not figure out what it was, until Thomas was like, what if you wrote it about this? And I was like, oh, hold up. I was really just like proud of like how well it flowed on that song. Like, I feel like it just, in my like pop music brain, I feel like it's a very well structured like pop song, and that makes me really happy. So I was very proud of that one.
What are the things you learned as you've worked and toured with Nessa, toured with Ari, went to music festivals, the Billboard Women's Music Conference as well, and those type of events? What have you picked up along the way?
Honestly, so much. I mean, it's like, it's you take things away from like all of those things. The Nessa tour was I learned so much from that. I mean, it really taught me how to perform. I mean, the Ari tour was so like, I mean, it's hard to say what exactly I've learned from each experience, but like, I would not be at the place just like where I am now in terms of like performing and writing, and how like, I don't know, just the confidence that I feel without those moments. And I'm so grateful. I mean, I don't think that I would be able to tour to the same extent if I hadn't been on the Nessa tour. Like, it really, really helped me, and like, just like, was so like, I can't not explain.
Did you have any subsequent conversations during tour that kind of stick out with her? And did she, I don't know, provide any type of advice? I know she was going through her own initial experiences as well.
Yeah, totally. It's really, I mean, just on a side note, it's very cool to see her do so well. Like, she's just crushing it, and she seems to be in such a good place, and it's like just really cool to watch. But I feel like I just learned so much through like observing, and like I watched how emotionally connected her fans are to her, and like how much like I think for a long time I was really afraid to share personal aspects of my life just because, I don't know, it was like a very scary thing to me. And I think watching her be so like vulnerable in her music and just like the way that she talked to the crowd, and like that was really, I took a lot of like inspiration from that, just because I was like, oh, this is not something that to be like afraid of. This is just a part of being an artist, and like what people show up to shows for and what they connect to is the emotional part of it. And that, I mean, that was like a major thing that I took away from just touring with her and watching that whole thing. It was just very cool.
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because people have these parasocial relationships with artists now where they just watch those videos over and over and they analyze every single detail, so they think they know these people, know you, and then they see you in person.
And I'm like, I feel like a lot of the times I'm completely different from what people would expect me to be. I feel like I'm a lot more smiley in person than people think that I'm going to be, which is hilarious. And
she smells like tuna.
I know, and I smell like tuna. Ugh, get her out of here.
Man.
No one's going to show up to the shows now.
Everyone's
going to bail out because of this
hand.
interview right now. No, I don't smell like tuna, I promise.
We have a fan blowing right now.
Yeah, no, seriously, we got to get her out
We have air fresheners here. You can't see the Lysol that's spraying at this moment.
It's really bad. Sorry, guys. But no, I try
It's not.
I know. I actually smell really good. If you meet me in person, everyone says I smell good, so...
The flowers haven't wilted behind you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, are there flowers? I'm like, they're fake. That's why. No, don't tell them that. No, but yeah, it's very fun to like. I mean, I talk to my fans so much just every day. Like
every day.
Like, I talk to them all the time. Like I'm always,
I can't get you to respond to a DM. You're talking to your fans on text.
I talk to them all the time. I always go through every single one of my story mentions all the time. That's like the first thing I do after a show is I go through all my story mentions.
How many references to the helmet?
Wait,
the motorcycle helmet.
See, I don't know when this interview is going to come out, but we'll see if the motorcycle helmet makes it onto the next tour.
Shocker.
I know. I've toured with it for like 2 years now, and I love it, but like there has to be change at some point, you know, like
New era,
yeah. But that it's, I don't know. It's cool. They stick with me through like, you know, all my different creative decisions, which is very cool, and it's very like. It
is interesting to get
sweet.
fan input in a way, or just fan response, not necessarily input.
Yeah. No, but it's just like, just in general, I'm so grateful for the fact that they show up and they're there. I mean, they're just like, I would say, I'm like, I feed into the parasocial relationships because I be talking to them all the time. But I really do love them. They're like every time I meet them, like the sweetest people ever, like truly. But yeah, they're the best.
Well, since you just brought it up, you're going to be hitting the road in support of the album, literally when this comes out or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, terrifying.
So
I'm so scared.
Was it Psychopomp?
Psychopomp, yeah.
What is Psychopomp? What does it mean to you? Why?
Psychopomp is a guide into the afterlife. That's like literally the definition of it. And it can mean many different things in like folklore and mythology. But oftentimes a raven is associated with being a guide into the afterlife. And so it was a very cool way of like joining the two. And I thought that because the tour, when we announced the tour, I hadn't announced the album. So I was like, it can't be the Raven tour. But I just thought it was a very cool way of hinting at the fact that it was Raven. And just in general, that it ties very much into like the meaning of the album and like conceptually what I want people to take away from it. So yeah.
So the Raven is a larger version of a crow.
Yeah.
Theoretically smarter than a crow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know how these people measure these things. I don't know if they're giving them math quizzes or whatever.
This is my nerd brain, but I'm pretty sure that a raven has a curved beak and a crow doesn't. It's straight. and then crows are like this big,
Right.
and then ravens are like this big.
Right.
I had one on me for the shoot. It was a live raven. His name was Maul, and he was very food motivated. Honestly, he didn't really care about anything else. But yeah, it was very cool to get an actual raven.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was very cool.
What was the impetus for Raven? What is it? What does that represent for this piece of work?
Yeah, Raven. I mean, I'm looking over at Molly over here, but I wanted to do a shoot with a raven for maybe a year and a half before the album, and so it means a lot of different things to me. I love what we were talking about in folklore, like what it represents, and it can often be associated with like change and growth, and then also it is associated with being a guide into the afterlife, which, you know, songs like See You Again talk about on the album. And again, I was homeschooled, if you didn't know, and I used to listen to these audiobooks with my mom about crows and ravens, so like I was obsessed with them growing up. And
your mom would just play random audiobooks about crows?
Yeah, we were on
like
that.
What?
That
Like science books?
We would listen to because I used to do these like classes when I was a kid, like these. I was homeschooled, and we would get.
By the
into
way,
these
I got to
homeschool
ask.
groups.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, you're so good.
Were you homeschooled?
No.
That's
I
what
was
I thought.
lying.
That's
No.
what I thought. That's what I thought.
No, I know, but we would go in these groups, and we would like hike through the woods for like an entire day, and like
listening to these audiobooks.
not listening to the audiobooks, but like my mom was just trying to in any way teach me about all these different things. I was very interested in nature and animals, and like and we would just, I mean, like she taught me in a very special way, and so like we would just learn about different things through like audiobooks when we would drive and stuff like that, so we would listen to that as we drove places, but it's just special to me in that way, and not that I'm a sports fan, but it links to my hometown, the Baltimore Ravens. It's just because a lot of the album talks about home and like growing up, and so it links to you know, Baltimore.
So it really
yeah,
ties
a lot
in
of
and
reasons.
means a lot.
Yeah, it means a lot to me, and we had like a couple different album names before Raven, and I was like, this is not right. It should literally just, I was like sitting on a plane, and I was like, the album should be called Raven, and I turned over to Thomas and I was like, it should just be called Raven, and he was like, yeah, that sounds great. And we were like, okay, great.
You had a list.
No,
Raven.
seriously, Raven. That's it. No, but it just happened. Like, it was always my gut instinct. So I'm glad I listened to it. And
any correlation to Edgar Allan Poe?
In some way,
Because people
yeah.
will infer that too.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely links to The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. I feel like we teased it in a way where when we home dropped, we sent out these like papers, and it had The Raven, you know, as the page, and then we wrote out like "Don't Think I'll Ever Go Home," and it was like a fun with a feather. We sent it to fans, and it was a fun like teaser for what the album was going to be called. So.
See, that makes it more of a mystery.
Yeah.
As opposed to writing Nevermore.
Yeah, no, seriously, that is maybe not as much of
right.
That would be a little direct, but and we put up the album trailer recently, and just referencing the fact that in that poem there's a raven at the window, and so the opening line is "There's a raven at my window," which is fun, and I wanted to tie it in that way. But yeah, a lot of different meanings and reasons and inspirations, which it's just, I'm very passionate about it, so I can talk about it
means
forever.
so much.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Ever dressed up as a raven for Halloween?
I dressed up as Raven from Teen Titans Go for many years, actually.
Oh my God.
And I was obsessed.
I was
with
literally
her, like,
talking about
so-
that this morning.
Yeah, really?
Yes.
Oh my God, no, I was fully obsessed. You're nodding your head. Like, no, I was obsessed with her, and I dressed up, like, I went like full out on, I think I have pictures, but I dressed up as her for like many years.
All right, I'm gonna kill the social content here.
Yeah, no,
social media
yeah,
content.
social media
so
content.
it was pick either or. What was it? Raven from Teen Titans,
Go.
or Raven from That's So Raven. Or just a Raven.
A straight up Raven, honestly. And either, I never watched That's So Raven. I know, I'm sorry.
Oh.
I know. Ugh.
I'm not going to tell you the premise or anything. You'll have to find out.
Yeah, no,
on
seriously,
your own.
I gotta watch it for myself. Yeah, no, seriously, but yeah. So there are a lot of different things.
We touched on the tour for a minute here, so obviously this is going to be interpreted in some type of fashion without a motorcycle helmet.
Yes.
So that's, or possibly,
Maybe.
possibly,
I don't know.
it might just pop up with a raven flying in.
Yeah, that would be crazy. That would. I don't know if we can make that one
Someone
happen.
in a raven costume on a motorcycle.
That, yeah, really link them together. Unfortunately, the red car, it's out of my bio now. I like red car. It was in my bio for like 3 years, and now it's Raven. So we're fully pivoting.
Wow.
But I hope that.
Well, that's what happens when you turn 20.
I know, life changes. It's just like you have to evolve, and so
Yeah.
at some point you like, especially because it's an album, it's a full album cycle
Yeah.
now. So now we got to really lean into it.
I love the music.
Thank you.
There's so much to digest, and I cannot wait to see this performed live on tour.
I'm excited for you to see it. You've seen me from when we were in San Francisco and I was sick.
Yes.
To being here now and
Yes.
having it be my own tour.
Well, let's not forget, in 90-degree weather, hot and humid,
I know,
on a rooftop in New York
in
City.
New York, that first interview
Brown
ever.
leather jacket.
Brown leather
that you would
jacket. I
refuse
had
to
my
take
short
off.
little hair.
Yes.
I had my baby like wolf cut. Yeah, crazy. It's so weird.
We took a break, and you were, and I was like, "Do you want to take the
sweating. I was
jacket
like,
off?"
no.
And you're like, "No, I'm good."
I was like, I want the jacket.
Want
on.
water? No.
No.
I'll drink my own sweat.
Yeah, no, seriously, I was like, I'm solid. I don't know. I was really nervous, but no,
And look at you, a pro,
hopefully I'm a little bit better. I feel like
guiding this whole conversation.
No, I can't claim that. I'm just, I feel like now I've talked about things enough that I'm like, okay, I have like a concept of how to talk about things.
How to talk,
how to operate,
It is so wonderful to see you.
I know, it's so good to see you.
Congrats.
Vanity Fair. No, I'm kidding.
Yes.
We're out. No, just
That's
kidding.
next step.
That's next step. No, we're here B-sides. That's the next one.
There we go. Can't wait to see the tour and
Yeah.
all the things. Please, let's do something at the house next time. I want to see
seriously.
the furniture.
I know. Hopefully I'll have more of it. Hopefully I'll have a table by now.
Actually, the next time we do this will be 4 months after tour.
Yeah.
I'll help you build a table.
Yeah. Oh my
and
God.
we'll talk and catch
We
up.
can. That would be a wonderful idea. I think that is totally not
Less formal. We don't need to be dressed like this.
Yeah, exactly. I can be in a sweatshirt, you
Yeah.
know, and maybe in a custom Deftones. We're locked in. No,
Which is nobody knows what's
no
going
one knows
on.
what's happening. They're like, "What is she talking about?"
Yes.
Yeah, but no, that would be something. Honestly, we should do that.
Let's do it.
Okay, perfect.
That's the plan. We
Yeah.
have it on record.
We have it on
multiple
record.
cameras.
Multiple cameras. I can learn how to use a drill.
A drill. I was going to pick something simple like a screwdriver first before a drill. My God, you're going to kill me with a drill.
I'm going to kill somebody. I don't know. Yeah, we'll figure it out. It's going to be crazy.
Thanks for doing this.
Thank you so much for having me again.
Good luck with tour.
Thank you so much.
Isabel LaRosa, right here on B-Sides.